Ah, and we have Fish Perfect playing now. Will you be covering the Mizzou match? That is exactly what's happening right now. So let's see. Mizzou versus Georgia Tech. A. Done. So the title and all that should have changed. So Fish Perfect has played their first move, waiting for Titus, who is their top board. Okay, and Titus has made their move, which is good. You love to see it. Let me make sure I'm following all the players, actually. Where's Mikhail Antipov? That is a good question. I'm not sure. All right, so I'm following all the players. This is the only game that started so far. So Titus is a national master from Georgia Tech. He is their top player. 2,600 national master. That's pretty strong for a national master, I will say. Fish Perfect, 2083. This is the board 4 for Mizzou. Woman International Master. So the other games are starting now, which is good. Harshit got the GM title like a month or two ago. I didn't know that. That is exciting. So yeah, Raja, who's playing now for Mizzou's board 2. I looked last year. They were like board 4, I think. So they moved up 2 boards from last season. So the last match that we streamed was Mizzou versus Berkeley in the finals last year, and Mizzou won. And I believe Raja was board 4. So imagine your board 4 is a 2,700 GM. That's a pretty good team. So now they're board 2. I don't know if Mizzou's missing any players now or if their players just got better. Raja now is a GM. Let's check out their board 1. This is Oprah and Grigori. 2,900 Grandmaster. Playing a fish out of water. Yeah, Gregory's already up a pawn. King cannot castle. Queen here. We just trade. We're up a pawn. Again, they can't castle. We can't bring this bishop out, though. Not yet. There's Count Live in the chat. Shout out to Count Live. Had a very good tweet from the Mizzou Twitter, I think, saying they're excited to defend their title. So I believe they got second place first season, first place last season, and they're looking for first place again. Oh, nice for him. I agree, Wikipedia. 69th GM from India. I didn't know that. That's really cool. So yeah, when are we going to update that GM title? Noah Kraken 2. The board 3, 2,200. So yeah, Georgia Tech, they got a strong team, but they don't have the superstar talent that Mizzou has. Here's Mizzou's board 3, Grandmaster Bubachik. So 3 Grandmasters, not too shabby. Only 2,300 rated though for Chris. Playing against, this is Saigatom? I don't know. But this is the board 2. So Georgia Tech, they have 2 really strong national masters on boards 1 and 2. Both their national masters above 2,500 blitz, which is pretty impressive. especially when you see, Bubachik is a grandmaster with 2300 blitz. Although, maybe he's underrated. Maybe the national masters are overrated. I'm not sure. But yeah, usually when you're playing blitz online, the title doesn't mean that much because you could have people that are like 2400 not even titled, 2500 not titled, whatever. Or you could have grandmasters that are like below 2000 rated. Very rare, but it's still possible. You see it. I've definitely seen it. It's happened a few times. But let's keep an eye on, let's stick to this game. I think this should be a close match. Woman International Master versus National Master. Titus with about 600 rating point advantage, but the position seems fairly equal. I mean, black might be a little bit worse here. The rook is hit and is going to have to move, or black's going to have to push this pawn, but then d6 is going to be backwards and weak. So what does Titus decide to do here? Top board from Georgia Tech. Is he going to move the rook, or is he going to move a pawn? Probably the rook. So where to move the rook? Do you activate the rook? So the rook lifts. Pressure on g5 now. So do we defend g5? Maybe queen lift to protect. Get ready to castle. Fish perfect. Deciding. Do we defend the pawn? I think queen d2 just makes a lot of sense. It's multi-purpose. Okay, so the pawn pushes to defend the pawn. And now the pawn is immediately hit and questioned. e5 I like a lot. I think it's a strong move. Bishop comes back to defend the pawn. Bishop takes. So both sides with an isolated pawn. I guess white technically has two. This move is pretty nice. Hits the rook, but also boxes out the bishop or the knight. So every forward move for the knight is covered by the bishop. White has the option of trading into an endgame. GM BMW, what are you doing? You won't watch Titus? Should I switch the game for you? Who do you want to watch? Not that I have to follow what you want, but I think Mizzou has a time advantage on every board except this one. But now they do. Raja is up 3 to 2 minutes, but also up material. What's up, Daki? Good games earlier today. White's looking good. No, never mind. Black is looking good. I was thinking the rooks were really nice, but this is not an issue. And this pawn is going to push its way through. But look at the time. Operin hasn't even used 30 seconds on the clock. The opponent is under a minute. That right there should tell you. Yeah, and this is just trading down, simplifying. Life is good. Check. Discovery, skewer. That's a nice tactic. That's nice. I missed it too. Fork. The fish out of water is yeah, I'm looking forward to the board 4 matchup. Board 4 versus board 4. The fish players will play. Dude, Wikipedia, I was gonna ask you, when is Temple gonna be streamed? Is Quinn still playing or no? Alright, so Operin won their game with resignation. So let's give Operin the opening point for Mizzou. All right. Oh, Quinn graduated. Maybe we can invite Quinn in for some commentary. Does Quinn stream? Quinn should stream. He's got quite the following, I will say. He could stream the Temple teams. Titus is an absolute lover of men. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Let's look at Titus's game. Let's see what Titus is up to. Titus is in time pressure for sure. White's got a nice bishop, I will say. This bishop is quite annoying. So taking rook with check, saving the knight. So how to make progress from here? Both players in time pressure. I think the position's probably a little bit even. Maybe black is better with the passed pawn, but not very clear. White has the bishop pair. So the threat was to take because the bishop was pinned to the rook. So the rook gets off the pin, off the d file. Pressure on the bishop. The pawn advances. King steps up. So the kings are advancing. Maybe the knight wants to come here to hit the bishop. Oh, winning this, but here the bishop falls. So Titus is winning a pawn. He lost the pawn, but he still has the pass pawn. So it's 3v2 on the queen side for white. The bishop's trying to attack these pawns, but the pawns... Oh, I guess this pawn is going to be harder to defend. Check, there's this. Okay, defending the pawn this way. Attacking the pawn yet again, but now advancing this one. So can white take this pawn? Well, they do with the bishop. Yeah, pushing here. Rook here. Oh, Titus is winning now. So he checks and then promotes. So yeah, fish perfect. Missed that and resigns. So Titus gets the first point for Georgia Tech. This game is actually almost over. Both sides very low on the clock. Looks like Sairi is doing well. Oh, is this going to be a problem? Is the rook lost now? White should be winning now, up in exchange. I don't see how you save this guy. Yeah, this was a tactic. After this, you can't take back. That was a nice shot from white. So inserting one last check, get the bishop back, and then taking the rook, gobbling up all the pawns. So yeah, black resigns. Incredible Bubachik with a very nice tactic. And Raja also won their game. Yeah, this is pretty smooth from here on out. So Raja and Bubachik. So 3-1 after round one. Georgia Tech only getting Andrew's point. Moving on to round two. We got Fish Adawada against Raja, the newly appointed 69th Grandmaster from India. Yeah, 3-1. You can't complain. I think it's starting 3-1, but that 1 point was from their top board against the fourth board. So I think as the matches continue, it's going to be tougher and tougher for Georgia Tech. So we'll see. Yeah, Raja here with the white pieces, not castling. What happened here? So after check, electing not to block with anything. So that's interesting. I don't know the theory here, but I would just block with the bishop. Don't know what's wrong with that. King f1 instead. And yeah, the king is now on g2. So Raja wants to keep the bishop. They want to keep the bishop. We will see how the bishop plays later in this game. But yeah, f6. A lot of people say don't play f6. White takes here. So what we have as a result of that is an isolated d pawn from white. And black has a backwards e pawn. So knight goes in, hits the rook. Rook goes to the e file. So yeah, we could potentially see some light square weaknesses here that are being taken advantage of. I'm a big fan of tucking the bishop back and bring the queen up, trying to create a battering ram here. This knight does guard the square, so you're going to have to try to figure out how to remove this guy. But the rook is on the h-file. Maybe we could see some sacrifice. I don't know. Just an idea. Alright, so the knight goes into e5. Supported by the other knight, as well as the pawn. So when your opponent has a backwards pawn, what you want to do is you want to control the square in front of it. You don't want the pawn to be able to trade itself off. So white has a very strong grip over e5. And the pawn here is in the way of the bishop as well. So it's going to be hard for this bishop to get involved. Black might want to try to contest the knight. Maybe trade it off somehow. That, or maybe they'll develop the bishop. Let's check out Titus's game. Titus versus the incredible Bubachik. So let's see. What is going on exactly? We have even material. An offer of trade of bishops. So right now, black is threatening to take white's bishop. So white will either trade bishops, inviting the knight into the game, hitting the rook, hitting the bishop, or what am I missing? This. Skewer. Very fancy. And the threat is to take and then take here. So if you take and they take here, then you take here. So this is very interesting. It looks like it's a free piece, but there is rook to c1 at the end. I still think that's what's best for black. In fact, black might be winning a pawn this way. So white just lost a piece. They have to take a piece. That or they go here right now. So they take first. Maybe rook there now is better because there should be bishop takes here. King takes, but then once the bishop moves, there's rook takes here. So maybe not winning material. So yeah, this is a very interesting line that Titus has gone for. Bubachik decides to save the dark square bishop and activate the rook. So black does have back rank issues, and this bishop is really nicely pointed at the king, so pinning the pawns. The king steps out, clearing any back rank issues, and now the pawn is supported by the rook. The rook is hit by the bishop, though. That's not ideal. The knight also defends the pawn, so the rook does not need to defend the pawn, and instead doubles up behind the other rook, looking at the c pawn, but the bishop is here to defend. All right, flight square for black. We're missing the fourth board. I don't know who's playing. Oh, they just started. Speak of the devil. Slicery versus Fish, perfect. So they're starting their game. We'll let them continue that. Let's go. Keep an eye on Titus here. Let's see if Titus can stir up some trouble. Yeah, so attacking the A pawn, the bishop blocks, comes back, offering trade. I would say this position's relatively even. Black might be a little bit better because the 3-on-2 majority is a lot easier to work with than a 4-on-3 majority. So, yeah, black is putting pressure here, but it's going to be hard to dislodge the knight. You got bishop versus knight in games. Typically, the side with pawns on both sides favors the bishop, as the bishop can influence both sides of the board at the same time, whereas the knight really only interacts with one side of the board. But knights are typically favorable in positions where the color coordination is there. So dark square bishop can only attack dark squares. That's why the knight is on a light square. So hard to attack a piece that's on the wrong square for a bishop. Now, the bishop can attack this pawn. It's going to be difficult. But yeah, as long as the knight is here, the pawn is pretty safe, at least from the rooks. So that's why I was thinking of bishop here. But perhaps you get pinned, so I'm not sure about that either. If your opponent is not online on either Chess.com or Discord, what should we do? Never mind. Good. That answers that for me. You should talk to someone. Make sure that they do get online. Okay. Yeah, h5, g5, g4. Try to dislodge the knight. I agree. That's an idea. For sure. Offering a trade here, which is interesting. So Bubachik trying to trade down. We have a result. Grigory has won with a very nice checkmate. This is a very common theme. When the knight takes away these two squares, rook takes away this square, you just need one last check and it's mate. So nicely well done for Grigory. There's no stopping this man. It's 2 out of 2. I wonder what Grigory's record is going to be for the whole season. That'll be pretty cool to see. This bishop is a really nice piece. Hitting the rook, defending the pawn. Like, if you compare the pieces in this position, material is completely balanced and even. But look at this bishop versus this bishop. This bishop's in the corner. It is influencing this pawn, though, I will have to admit. So the pawn maybe is weak. But does black take here? They take there. Yeah, I don't know what this is all about. I thought rook here, but that is very passive, I must admit. And technically, I guess the bishop is pinned. Ah, the rook is hit. So that was a poisoned pawn. Oh, but this rook is hit. But then this pawn falls. Yeah, okay. I thought rook takes here maybe, but yeah, you lose the pawn at the end, I believe. So, not winning material. But that being said, white's pawn structure is now weak, but black also has a very exposed king. So I feel like this has to be a good move, right? Step the king up instead, attacking the pawns. Ignoring that, saying I have this pawn that's passed. Trying to support it, I suppose. bishop here is kind of an interesting move. Only 20 seconds for Krish. And Titus also is in some time pressure. 40 seconds to a minute. Over a minute. How's Andrew doing? So Bubachik about to be under a minute as well. Deciding on G6. Keeping the knight out. So yeah, white is pretty solid. And it's hard to make a pass pawn now with this pawn setup. So this position keeps looking equal, but anything can happen in time pressure. Okay, c3. We have some progress here. Takes, and now this pawn's a goner. Maybe so is this one. Okay, rook here. Looking for a trade. Takes. Can we run this pawn down without losing this one? So knight here. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe you push. Push in here. Forced. Then you take this. I think Bubachik should just push the pawn. That's what I would do. But also, I'm not a grandmaster. Raja has won their second game. Yeah. Yep, just hold on to the pawn, and the rest will follow. So yeah, top two boards from Mizzou, flawless so far. Let's see. Okay, so the king is joining the fight. Can Bubachik win this pawn? Or is Titus in time to win the pawn? Wait. Yeah, okay. Sorry. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, the 3-on-2 majority is a lot easier to work with, and as we can see, black has created that pass pawn. So if the queen goes too far, you lose this probably. Here, so one square away from promoting. You could also just promote and take here, but and now here as well. So the pawn lifts, but now check, and now all these pawns are gonna fall as well. Check first, check again. Only now taking, and now again, black has the 3-on-2 majority. So how to convert? If you step up, you're gonna lose this pawn. So rook here first, and only then stepping up, maybe. Okay. 10 seconds though for Chris. Anything can happen here. 10 seconds. Oh, check. This is dangerous. Where do you go? Go here. Attacking here. Maybe this was the thing. Okay, here. Maybe just this or this. Now you have to go here. But king here and taking is unstoppable. So black is going to win this. They're going to be up 3 pawns. There's nothing that white can do here. So yeah, that's some sort of a try to get the rook to take, but then the pawn would promote. So just taking with the king here is simply best, and Bubachik moves on. So top 3 boards now for Mizzou, each winning all their games. So it's down to Fish Perfect in this last round of round 2 for Mizzou. Fish Perfect lost the only game so far to Georgia Tech, and their board 1. Let me see. Okay, so pawn push opens up the queen a bit. Both sides fianchettoed on the king side. White with a double fianchetto. The knight comes back. Rook e8. Are we preparing for e5? I'm not sure. Or just anticipating d5 to open up the e file on the queen. So yeah, rook opposite the queen, it's typically always pretty good. Pretty standard position, honestly, for both sides. Okay, queen e7. How to make progress here? Does white want to push through? I doubt it. Just pawn takes. At least the queen is defended by something. Okay, I like c5, e5. So closing the diagonal. If takes here, I mean, are we taking with bishop? Okay, not even taking, just passing. Okay, and now d5. Takes. Do we take here? No, because our knight was hanging. So we save the knight with the punch. So now the rook moves back, and now that's a fork. Wait, was it a fork? No, it wasn't. That was a free pawn. Maybe that was a mouse slip, or just forgetting that the queen was here as well, or that the bishop wasn't opened yet. So that is an interesting move from Fish Perfect. A fishy move, perhaps you could call it. Not a perfect one for sure. So is Fish Perfect going to lose 2 in a row? They're under pressure on the clock, under 20 seconds. Saisri also pretty low on time, but more time than their opponent, which is typically pretty good. Knight hits the queen. Queen steps back. Okay, knight's going in. Knight gets kicked. Potentially weakening the b pawn, but b pawn advances as well. The knight comes back, eyeing up some light squares. Okay, bishop hits the rook. Rook trades. Now the knight's coming in. Knight hits the bishop. Do you save the bishop? I mean, it's already defended. So pinning the knight to the rook. So pawn pushes. This helps protect the knight, but at the same time, it locks in the bishop. So maybe not the best. There goes another pawn. Yeah, taking here. Rook takes. Rook takes. Queen takes. And now, wait, what was that move? Wait. Oh, it was a knight. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking, but maybe still not the best move. That's almost mate. There's defense, but yeah, what the heck happened here? I don't know if I would take the knight, but the knight was taken. Queen check, bishop block. Very peculiar. Queen check. King has to move. And now that should be GG. Check. Another check. You can force queens off, the king goes up. And if you don't go up, then... Oh, okay, so electing to play in this endgame. Which makes sense. White should be better. Wait, so I guess it doesn't make sense that black would do that. Actually, no, black had to do that because they were going to get mated otherwise. But yeah, white has that 2-on-1 majority now. And they do promote on the right color square. But we have opposite color bishops. This could be very well drawn. Hey, Mark, good to see you. Yeah, I believe this should be a draw. But Fish Perfect's down to their last second there. Oh my god, move. Oh man. Oh, that. Oh no. Oh my goodness. All right, Fish Perfect goes down. So they've lost to the top 2 boards from Georgia Tech. Yeah. That time pressure though proved to be too much. Okay, let me see what's happening here. Fish Adawada versus the Bubachik. I'm dying for their fourth board matchup. Fish Perfect and the Fish Adawada. The Fish usernames. We need a reward or an award for the best username in the league. I don't know who that would be, but Dr. Doofenshmirtz is up there for sure. Okay, the bishop is hit, so the bishop comes back. You could have also taken here first. Now the knight is hit, knight comes back. Okay, pawn advances. Threatening this, which would have trapped the bishop. So the knight moves, hitting this bishop, but also freeing up a square for the bishop to go back. So if pawn here, we would take here probably. Pressure on the rook. But also here takes, we win this pawn. So you cannot play f5 right now. And the bishop does save itself, going back, tucking up next to the king, defending g2. So white no longer threatening f5. Maybe move the queen in, maybe trade, put a knight on e4. We are halfway through this match. Mizzou is up 6-2. They only need 2 points for tie in the remaining 8 games, so I suspect they'll be doing just fine. I wouldn't be surprised if Mizzou sweeps the 4th round, as the 4th round is going to be a pretty big disparity, I think, between all the boards. All right, offering a dark square bishop trade here with this last move. Perhaps rerouting the knight to g3 or to d4. Okay, but first the queen is hit, going to e3, and now advancing the pawns in the center. Just maybe threatening d4. Chris has pi minutes left. They were at that 3-1-4, you know. Okay, hitting the pawn. Nice move. Should we look at Fish Perfect's game? Fish Perfect versus Noah Kraken. So this is Arena's first game against Georgia Tech's non-titled player. Still a good player though. Still has the rating advantage. I think... Oh, did this game finish already? What the heck? Saistri versus Grigori. So what on earth happened here? Pawn takes, threatening the queen. Yeah, and Saistri just missed it. And yeah, they're converting here now, so that's a rough game for them. Who was that? Grigori, right? Grigori is 3 for 3. 3 for 3 from Grigori. And I don't think there's any stopping him. It's going to come down to Titus in the 4th round to see if someone could put a stop to Grigori's dominance. So both sides now at double pawns. Black still needs to make a flight square at some point. Here we go, d4. Playing in the center, trying to undouble the pawns. I think white doesn't want to take. I think white wants to move the queen. How much longer with coverage today? I actually don't know. I think after this, though, I'm going to head out. I don't know how many more people there are. Or how many more matches there are. There is the Cal Poly slow match, but that's like later today. So All right, so white bringing the rooks to the center. Here comes the queen. Maybe going to offer a queen trade, but probably not. Mostly just defending the rooks, I guess. Yeah, who's better here? Black has a passed pawn, but it's hard to promote it. Hitting this pawn on the king side, g3, that makes sense. You want to see Titus versus Raja? This rating is relatively close. It's within 100 rating. So, but what's going on here? Titus is actually winning this. He's got the queen. I mean, it's a queen versus two pieces, but it's a queen nonetheless. So Raja's gonna try to hold on here, I guess. Try to see if they have a plan for that. Can white hold on? They do have the bishop pair, but I think they'd rather have the queen. Let's actually go back and look what happened here. Was this an early queen trade? Here, yeah. So white gives up the queen. Yeah, what happened here? After this, why not take the bish? Because queen takes e4 hits everything. Okay. So take, now bishop back, attacking the queen. The knight is immune because the pawn is pinned. But so is the bishop now. Yeah, Titus just wants to trade down, which makes a lot of sense because he's up a queen. Don't think that's too crazy. But yeah, white can maybe try to get coordinated, right? Because, like, the pawns are defended. The bishops are defended. Okay, and so the pawns are not defended. Pawns are not defended. That is unfortunate. Taking this, maybe they could take this or something, but then you take this, so it's worth it. I think it's worth it. Titus should win this game. Let's go back and look at Fish Out of Wada. Oh, Fish Out of Wada has a rook down, so black was able to promote their passed pawn. There's checkmate on the board. Let's look at Noah versus Fish. Let's update Incredible Repka to 3 out of 3. So you have 2 games left in this round, this third round. Mizzou has clinched a draw. So if Georgia Tech somehow wins every single game after this, they will draw the match. So we should start predictions. I should get a team of mods. We just have Aaron. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Should I mod players? Should we have player mods for the Collegiate Chess League channel? That'd be interesting. Not that it's a big deal or not. We haven't really needed mods. The only time that we needed mods really was watching Temple last season. All right, what's going on here? So we have a sacrifice to get the queen in. But what's the follow-up? What is the follow-up? Here? Maybe this? Are we taking here? Are we pushing through? I don't know. There's a lot of options here. Fish perfect ups time. But yeah, they really went all in for it here. Knight sack, queen check, and no follow-up, just spending time. You don't want to be in time pressure again. Oh, it's pinned. Oh my god. I was so confused. I thought that was another Botez gambit. There goes a pawn down. Now you take this, take this. Yeah, no, this is completely crushing. king here only move. But now how do you finish? How do you finish this? Check here. Maybe just push the pawn twice. I don't know. Or you could clinch a draw, which clinches the win for the team. You could threefold repeat. Okay, but now White's trying to defend. White's bringing in the pieces. Queen here, trying to advance this way. So, stepping back, that's right. Use the pawns to your advantage. You sacked a piece for 2 pawns. Now use the 2 pawns. Oh my god. Raj is down to the last 5 seconds. Hold on. So the queen just infiltrated. They traded dark square bishops. Queen is grabbing everything she can. White trying to say they have some sort of fortress, but the king is entering the battle. So what is going on here? If you move the king here... Yeah, black needs to push the pawns. Black needs to get activation. They need to dislodge these pieces. Oh, there goes another pawn. Yeah, Raj is going to go down here. Raj is going to go down. For sure. Check. A pawn push. Resignation. So Titus wins. 2 out of 3. I think Fish Perfect just got their first win. Yeah, the game was pretty much over. Yeah, after these checks, they were too strong. So, check here, and they flagged. Couldn't even figure out what to do at this point. So, unfortunate for Noah, but very nice win for Fish Perfect, getting their first point of the day. And yeah, that's going to be good enough for Mizzou to win. They're at 9 out of 12. So basically winning 3-1 every round. And so here we go. This is the final round of the match. Mizzou has already won, but let's see if we got some good chess left. We got Titus versus Grigori. So Titus is 2 out of 3. Can he put a stop to Grigori? Or is Grigori unstoppable? Go Fish. Oh, speaking of Go Fish, when's Fish Perfect and Fish Adawada gonna play? Here it is. This is the Go Fish match. So get Adawada, or no, get a Fish Adawada. Has no points on the day. They're gonna try to see if they can get it here. Can he create an out of water fish in his opponent? Is Fish Perfect in their element? They won their last match, so they have a bit of momentum. Especially knowing that they've won the match already. Although, I will say, get a Fish Adawada is putting quite the French defense up. Fish Perfect is not sure what to do here. Let's go Krish. Krish the Fish. Okay, going for the Tarash, I believe. Yeah, black playing this fast. White took about a minute on that third move. Man, matches are too early for me, man. I need to set the default time to like 10 p.m. my time. Just for me. I'm yawning a lot, unfortunately. I apologize to you all, but all right, so yeah, I'm trying to learn this theory too. I don't know the French defense too well, but I think that b4 is a common idea. Black's just putting a stop to that, so Black getting ready to castle. White not really close at all to castling. It's going to be a couple moves out before Fish perfect castles. The king is not in his home. Maybe you could call the king of fish out of Wada. Okay, pawn here. Guess this puts a stop to knight here. Castles. Yeah, bishop here, strong. So probably you'll tuck the bishop back and bring the queen in. Maybe you'll see this. En passant, knight takes. Knight here. I only see 3 games right now. I'm missing Raja versus Saisri, which I think would be a close match. All right, there's the pawn move that I was talking about. Will we see en passant? Knight takes, knight here. I've predicted all of this. No en passant. So this will stay intact, and this bishop will suffer, is how I see it. But okay, take with knights or take with pawn? Take with pawn. Yeah, the knights are defending. How to make progress? That is always the question. This will drop this at some point. So maybe white will think about going here to develop the bishop, I guess. But yeah, white could castle. Black has already castled. Is white gonna get rid of this pawn somehow? Seems enticing. Okay, a retreating move. Bringing the queen all the way back. Developing the bishop. So yeah, I'm not sure what the bishop is doing though. Acting as a tall pawn is kind of unfortunate. I don't know if their plan is to go this way at some point, but I think bishop here was reasonable as well. This knight is hanging now, so here, here, or here will get the job done. Hit the knight with the check. White does not care about attacking the knight. They're able to resist it. Instead, they want to trade light square bishops. So black is saying, go ahead, keep this bishop. It's not really doing anything, but I'll go ahead and take this one off your hands. So it's like, all right, if you want to trade light square bishops, you're going to have to take me. Black's like, fine, we just did it. And black's like, I know, that's what I wanted to happen. I wanted to trade light square bishops. So now let's trade rooks too. No, white doesn't participate. The rook to the c file, instead going for rook to the d file. And yeah, this definitely is preparing a g4 pawn break. So can black prevent this at all? I think g4 is hitting no matter what. Saisri is not accepting Raja. Well, they'll forfeit that game if you don't hear anything from them in like 5 minutes. So Bubachik has won. So Noah's lost all the games today. take. Look at this, dude. Taking here. If king takes, queen check, picking up the knight with check. So knight takes, knight goes back to any mate, queens hit, pawns hit, takes the king. When I say queen, yeah. And this is brutal. Taking here to defend the queen. So the queen was relying on the knight to defend itself. Now taking here, you just lose a piece. So yeah, Bubachik should... Oh, Bubachik did win after this. That's a nice finish, though. Let's check out Titus and Grigori. What is going on here? Oh my goodness. Wait. Titus is up. I'm losing my mind here. So, okay. Rook lifts. Rook takes knight. How does that work? So sacking the exchange for this passed pawn, basically. Yeah, having to give up the knight for the passed pawn, and now you're down a rook. A rook for 2 pawns. And black is just trying to check everything. And not lose material at this point. They're trying to create a fortress. Trying to check the king. Keep being as annoying as possible. So I think white's trying to counteract all of this by putting the rooks where they could block the checks. So yeah, Titus is up a rook for 2 pawns. But down 2 minutes. Oh, and there's taking another pawn. So 3 connected outside pass pawns for 1 rook. What's better? What would you guys take? I mean, the extra rook obviously is nice. You're going to have to start winning this material somehow. You're going to have to use the rooks. You got to put the rooks in motion if you want to win the game. You got to win these pawns. Let's see what's going on here. The fish game. So, yeah, Fish out of Wada hasn't won a single game yet. Neither has Noah Kraken, but Noah Kraken lost their 4th game. So it's down to the top boards and the bottom boards. I didn't give Bubachik his point. So Bubachik was 4 out of 4 on the day. I do believe. Okay, so what is going on here? Can we... I was going to say save the queen, but the queen was not under attack. So queen drops the knight. Wow. Yeah, that's rough. Now you can take on b6. Nope, just bring the queen all the way back. Yeah, Fish Perfect will win this game. Oh, Titus and Grigori drew by repetition. So that's a really good draw by Titus. We have Saistri and Raja now. Dude, I just lost the game I was spectating. I wanted to look at their draw. Wow, 3 pawns versus a rook draw by repetition. That's crazy. But okay, we'll give them their points. That's a good result for Titus, for sure. And Opening does not go flawless today. Although they didn't lose a game, they did draw their 4th one. So, okay, we have 2 games left in the match. We got Fish Perfect still playing Arawada. Fish Perfect is just increasing their advantage slowly but surely. They're up 2 whole knights. They could probably give up the queen here for the rook and still be better off, but they probably won't do that. Instead, rather, what we'll see is just white slowly but surely be able to, I assume, make a comeback. Okay, what are we doing about... Yeah, never mind. I'm seeing ideas of trying to get the knight here with the fork, right? Maybe we take here now. I think I would do that. Yeah, trade of rooks, but this you can just promote because you get the fork at the end. It's very nice technique from Fish Perfect. So, final game here. They've got the game underway. Fish Perfect beating the bottom two boards from Georgia Tech. So, losing the first two, kind of a rough start, but winning the last two. As they always say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Fish Perfect finished perfectly. So yeah, rough going for Georgia Tech's bottom two boards, getting absolutely blanked by the entire Mizzou team. And now it is down to Saisri. So Saisri versus Harshit Raja, new grandmaster. If Saisri wins this, he'll have tied Harshit and Irina for 2 out of 4. But yeah, this result does not matter that much. Mizzou still would like to win, obviously. They win the match overall. Actually, I think we're going to look at the points for tiebreaks if needed when determining playoff standings. So it could be important later down the road in the future. Although I suspect Mizzou will likely win their division outright. Or their group, rather, I should say, for the regular season. Should, but you never know. There are some new teams, but Georgia Tech is one of them. Mizzou has done swift work with this team, so. All right, knight's hitting the bishop. Trading here. Should be good for black. Like, I like black's position. I think f3 is kind of a weakening move on the dark squares, and black is a little bit better on development, I'd say. So what does white do here? I think you got to move the bishop. Maybe bishop to d5. Trying not to trade. But maybe then the rook would come here or something, and then you lose a piece. So maybe not. I don't know. The bishop could be defended from there, but the knight behind it is going to have a hard time. So maybe you just give up the bishop. No. Oh, well, I mean, technically this is a yes, but yeah, give up the bishop. You lose a pawn this way. Is it worth it? Well, if you took the pawn, queen takes, rook takes, because the bishop wasn't developed yet, there'd be a check. You'd have to block the bishop, and then the other bishop comes in. So I think that's what I saw in my mind, but I'm also seeing things, so let's see. Black is attacking with the a pawn. The attacker a pawn. Launching the pawn. Okay, the bishop's hit. Bishop back. Yep. Bishop e6, and now a4 is on the menu. Rook c8 is coming for black, perhaps. Hit the queen. Yeah, black has the bishop pair, better structure. White played f3, and now they have that isolated e pawn, which is less than ideal. So, and now, yeah, a4 happens. Knight goes back. A3 happens now. Just attacking the pinned pawn, but also threatening to take the pawn with the fork, with the threat of queening. So, queen defends, I guess. No, queen comes in with check, attacking the bishop. So you could remove bishops if you wanted to. But yeah, there's really no good way to block, except maybe you could have maybe considered queen f2, but you don't want to put yourself in that situation, I don't think. So taking here, and we have resignation. Wait, so why not? Oh, the bishop's pinned. The bishop's pinned. And queen takes, there's bishop takes. Wow. So Raja making swift work of Saistri. Raja going 3 out of 4. So really nice showing. Repka, the third board, ended up doing the best. And then Grigori, then Raja, then Fish Perfect. So, but Mizzou, I don't think, cares too much about the ordering of their players. They matter about the points. And they all did really well in that regard. So, tough go for Georgia Tech. But Titus did well. I mean, 2.5 out of 4. It's above 50%. So really strong player. And also Titus seems to have a couple fans in the chat, which is always good to see. But with all that being said, I believe that is it for me for now.